Hi guys, I'll do a quick video on weed membrane and what my thoughts are on using it. Obviously they're my personal thoughts, but I've seen this a few times. We've got this sort of Mypex stuff that's been put down. It's black plastic woven. This stuff with the green lines on it, going vertically and horizontally. It's been put down on this clay here, and on top you've got a lot of stones as a finish. Quite a common thing for people doing gardens, but personally I would recommend just not bothering with the weed membrane. It hasn't stopped weeds here at all. What happens over the years, the soil slowly builds up. It may not be very good soil, but it is enough for what we would class as weeds. But really, what weeds are very highly adapted plants. Now, I'm trying to pull this and it's quite a job. And what you can get is a root system like that, and if it goes deep enough, which this one's just about doing, it will go through all the stones, through the weed membrane, and believe me, they do. Once they're in the weed membrane, they attach to it, and this becomes a massive anchor. So not only have you got to pull this weed up, but you're also pulling on this. And of course this is then lifting all of these stones. It becomes very difficult, and what's likely to happen is, as you can just see here on the tips, I don't know if it's coming up very well on the camera, but they've snapped. So there's some weeds, roots, still left in the stones. Now, depending on what type of plant is growing, that could be enough to bring the plant back to life, and so you're going to be pulling weeds out anyway. So my recommendation is, if you put in a top dress, don't bother with the weed membrane. It's good if you're putting it down to suppress weeds and kill them off. It does a wonderful job of doing that. But when you've got some sort of top dress like this, or a mulch, all that's going to happen is what I've just shown here. If you're wanting to grow, you're better off with cardboard, and then compost or topsoil, manure, whatever mix you want to put on top of it. At least then the cardboard will rot down, but before it does that, it's going to reduce the weeds. It will suppress the seeds from germinating, and hopefully they just won't come up again. The whole idea of no dig, no till, back to Eden, is you're not disturbing the soil, you're not bringing those seeds back up to the surface where they can get some light and germinate in the warmth. You keep them down low, and ultimately they're probably very likely to rot, maybe even get eaten by worms, and then they're going to become organic matter, and you won't get issues with weeds growing. So for me, I do use weed membrane, but I don't tend to put it down with anything on top. Doesn't matter what you use. Nature has a great way of slowly rebuilding itself. As you can see here, it is dirty. Dirt's dropped in. Being in a nursery, it's more likely to have plants and pots being walked over all the time, and little bits dropping off. More so than if it was just outside, where you're going to get dust settling, and that's just enough to ultimately provide the basic environment for your weed seeds to germinate. So my recommendation is just put your stones down. There's not much point in weed membrane. You're going to get the weeds, but it should make it a lot easier to weed them and less likely to snap, and leave the roots in there for it to regrow. So if you've got any comments, just let me know. Like and subscribe, and hopefully I'll be doing some more videos for you in the future. Bye for now.